Hey everyone, and welcome to part 4 in how to make cozy sacks and cuddle cups. And today I'm going to show you guys how to make a traditional cuddle cup for your guinea pig, chinchilla, whatever pet you have. And in case you don't know what a cuddle cup looks like, that's basically it. Except the one we're going to be making today isn't going to be as thick because we're going to be using fleece instead of lamb's wool. But you get the basic shape of it. And this is part 4, and part 1, 2, and 3 are the links will be down in the description box. So if you hear me referring to them in my video, then you'll know where to find them. The measurements I want to end up with is about 10 inches in diameter. I'm talking about the cuddle cup, obviously, and about 4 inches tall. That's basically what I want to end up with, and that's the size of the cuddle cup I'm going to be showing you today. So whenever I cut the fabric and everything, I'm cutting it just the size of a 10-inch diameter cuddle cup. So the materials you'll need is rulers, tape measurers, whatever measuring tool you have, like there. Second thing you'll need are scissors. You can use fabric cutting scissors, or you could just use office supply scissors or kitchen scissors. Either one will work fine. And you also need some kind of marker or pen. I have a Sharpie right there and a regular pen right there. You'll also need 2 different fleeces. A fleece for the outside of the cuddle cup and the fleece for the inside. I'm going to be using this fleece for the outside and the tie-dye fleece for the inside. You also need batting and thread and a needle. As I said in part 3, part 2, I would use a thicker thread and a thicker needle because we're going to be sewing through batting. And if you're going to be using batting, to find out what it is, you can rewatch the beginning of part 2. And I'm going to be using Soft and Bright. So that is basically all the materials we'll be needing, and let's get started. As I said in part 1 and part 2, a sewing machine, recommended but not needed. You can hand sew it. And also what I mentioned, of course you could use other materials other than fleece, like flannel material, cotton material, or regular sewing fabric, but I find fleece easier to work with, and it saves time because you don't have to sew the edges every single time you cut it because fleece does not fringe. So I find it easier to work with. And what you need to do first, step 1, is of course get all your materials, and then step 2 is you want to cut out 1 circle of your outer fabric you're going to be using on your cuddle cup, 1 circle of batting, and then 1 circle of the inner fleece you're going to be using. So right now, here's the floral outer fleece, and since I said before the measurements, I wanted to end up being about 10 inches in diameter. So I'm going to add another inch because when you sew it, it shrinks a bit. So it's going to be 11 inches. And basically my magic number is going to be 5.5. I'm going to put my rulers in exact cross and try to put it together at 5.5 and make like a little mark there. And try to start drawing out a circle so it could be easier to cut. As you see, I'm using my Sharpie and I'm marking out points just to make it easier when I cut the fabric. And the reason I said 5.5 was my magic number is because it's right in the middle of 11, and if I can mark up that middle point, then I can shift the ruler around and make it easier to find other points around the circle, which makes it easier to cut. So I'm just going to keep on measuring it. That's 5.5. I'm going to line it up with that dot, which I've measured, of course, and put another mark at 11 and another mark at 0. So after you've marked, measured, and cut your outside fabric, you want to do the exact same with your batting and with your inside fleece or fabric, whatever fabric you're using. I'm using fleece again. And just to save time, I'm not going to show you the whole process of how I do this, but you need to cut 3 strips, one with your inside fabric, one of batting, and one with your outside fabric. I've already done that. And for a 10-inch diameter cuddle cup, you want to cut it 5 inches width and then 30.5 inches long. So I've done the same with all 3 pieces of fabric, and you also want to leave a little opening so your guinea pig can get in the front of your bed. And now what you want to do is put aside your inside fleece fabric for a sec, put aside, and just work with these pieces. Now you want to sew the batting to the outside fabric, sew the edges of the circle like that, and you also want to line up the strips and sew them the same way around. So take your needle and thread and sew those 2 pieces together and these 2 circles together. Alright then, so then after you've sewed the batting to the outer fleece on both the circle and the strip, you're going to take both strips, your inside fleece one and your outer and batting fleece, and you're going to lay it with the right side up, and you are going to fold it in half and sew only that edge. Same thing with this one. Fold it in half and sew only that edge. So now the inside is on the outside. So now that you've sewn both strips together at the ends like that, you're going to take both of your circles, the right side up, and you're going to sew it together like this all around. And you're going to do the exact same with this one too. So now you sort of see the basic shape of the cuddle cup, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the one with your outer fabric choice and your batting, and you're going to flip it over so the outside fleece is on the outside. So just do it nice and evenly. And now what we're going to do is, once you got it flipped over, you're going to take your inside fleece and put your outside, just stuff it into there like that, and make sure that the openings are lined up. So the fleece that you're going to be seeing in the end is facing each other on the inside, and now you're going to sew all around that edge, but leave the opening, which I like to do here, so you can flip it over in the end. And the reason I like to do this way is because the stitching ends up looking nice from the outside, so you only want to sew all this edge all around. Now we are almost done here. So after you've sewn together this edge all around, you're going to take your opening, open it up, stick your hand inside, and try to flip it back over. And just press it down and fold it until you get to the shape of your cuddle cup. This might take a second. Now the last step is just sew together that opening. So now, congratulations, you have made your very own cuddle cup. Tie-dye fleece on inside, floral print on outside, a little opening where your piggy can get in, your guinea pig. And thanks so much for watching. Again, the links of 1, 2, and 3 are down there, and hope you liked those videos too. And yeah.